All right, hey everybody, it's Charlie with Stout Realty Team here in Central Florida. Today we got a customer who has some corroded shutoff valves and some old copper pipe in their bathroom that's leaking. I've got to replace those shutoff valves with new ones. We're going to specifically use a Sharkbite type. That will eliminate the leaking and it also will not hinder the old copper pipe. Before we do anything, the most important thing is we need to shut off the water to the house. There's a couple different ways that you can do it. Big box stores sell a water shut-off key, or you can do like what I did, just a crescent wrench and a large screwdriver. It's a little windy outside today, so I'm going to try to explain everything to you here, and then we're going to go out and I'm going to show you in person. But when we get to the valve, we're going to take the crescent wrench and we're going to run the screwdriver for it. That way we can get a little torque and we can manipulate it that way. In order to shut the water off, you might need to do a quarter or a half turn. We'll figure it out when we get there. And there, right at the end of the street's our water valve. Most of the time these shutoff valves are going to be right in front of the street. That way it's easy for the city to get to them. All right, we're going to go ahead and open it up. You can use the metal thing, grab the plastic, and then sometimes you're going to have to find the valve. So you're going to dig through the sand, and in this case, I can see the valve right there. Now, like I was saying, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this crescent wrench, I'm going to match it up to where it's going to fit snugly onto the valve, and then I'm going to take my screwdriver, put that through there, that way I get a little torque, and then I can twist it to shut off the water valve. It might be a quarter turn, it might be a half turn. You just need to figure out which way it's going to go with somewhat of ease, and then turn it that direction. And once it stops, your water should be shut off. Once you've shut the valve off, come back inside, find a first floor faucet, then turn it on. And if you see the water shut off like that, then you know that the water's fully off. All right, the following items you're going to need for this: some emery cloth, some Sharkbite cutoff valves, 2. I took one out of the bag to show you. Some plumber's faucet and valve grease, and a mini pipe cutter. First thing we're going to do is disconnect the water line. After I disconnected the water lines, I put them in a bowl so water can drip into the bowl as opposed to the fiberboard of the vanity. Disregard the P-trap. I'm going to replace that in another video. Next thing that we're going to do, we're going to take this valve off. Next thing I'm going to do with my pipe cutter, I'm going to cut out the existing pipe. The reason why I removed the valve first was so I had more room with my hands for the confined space. Place the pipe cutter away from the valve, tighten it, and then you're just going to have to make a few turns. Now it's important, you want this cut pipe to be as flush as possible. So using your hands or fingers, make sure you don't have any jagged edges. Make sure it's smooth with no bushings. We're going to also clean that up here with the emery cloth. The emery cloth is similar to the sandpaper, and what you are doing is you're going to scrape off the old paint, the bushings, and kind of file this pipe down as much as you can to make it as smooth and as clean as possible. Now that your pipe is clean, you're ready to apply the plumber's grease and the Sharkbite shutoff valve. A few things about this shutoff valve is you have a collar, which we're going to apply into the pipe, and you also have this connection, which if you unscrew, you did not break. This is for a flex tube. If you've got a flex tube as opposed to a water line like so, then you need to be watching another video. So I'm going to add a little bit of this grease to the pipe, and all this is going to be a lubricant just so I can get on easier. I'm just going to put that on nice and neat. Less is more in this scenario. Now I'm going to add my collar. This will slide into the Sharkbite connector, and this is what will lock it. So put that all the way at the end. And now it's time to add this. Make sure that this white pipe goes into the copper pipe, and you're going to push it in slowly, but you're going to feel it seat. Once that seats correctly, and it really is a feel to it, you're going to want to slide the collar over. And if you pull on it ever so slightly, like I'm doing, you'll see that it's not going to come off. Don't yank it as hard as you can, but I mean, just good pressure. All right, like I said, once you've connected that and this feels secure, I put a little Teflon on, and I'm just going to reconnect my water line. I start by doing it by hand, and then I do it with the wrench. As you can see, I turned this off and on as I was screwing this down just so I could get additional room. That's because the water's off in the house, so that's okay. But what I do, make sure that it's off in the off position for when you turn the water back on. This would be the off position. All right, now I'm gonna do the other one over there. And then I'll reconnect the water and I'll turn it on to show you how it works. When you go back to turn the water onto the house, go back to your original faucet. Turn the faucet on. This way, when you turn the water on from the street, this will get rid of the air and the line, and the water will run successfully. Okay, I replaced both my shutoff valves, connected the water lines. They're still in the off position. I cleaned up the vanity, and I put a dry, clean kitchen towel underneath the shutoff lines. The reason why is because that way I could see if there are any drips when I turn the water on back into the house. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the faucet. And then I'm going to slowly turn these water lines on. Now, I'm confident that these will work because this will be an expensive mistake with my gimbal and phone. All right, cold water is on. Now hot water. You can hear the air in the line come out. That's normal. And if you look, you can see it's totally dry. We'll let that run for a second. Now I'm going to shut them off because I got to replace the P-trap.